What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Noluckadded podcast, the podcast for young entrepreneurs. Listen, man, I'm not going to waste no time. We're going to jump right into the episode, but I do need you to do me a favor. If the content in this episode, if it does anything for you, right? If it helps you in your business, if it helps you in your life, please share it out. Please leave a review and make sure that you subscribe. That's all I need. Let's jump to the episode. Yes. What's going on? What's going on? Welcome to the Noluckadded podcast, the #1 podcast for young entrepreneurs. Hold up, let me get my stuff right. Let me hit this record button real quick and we gonna go. All right, first and foremost, man, happy holidays to everybody out there. Happy holidays. Hold on, what is this? Hold on. Happy holidays to everybody out there. You know, I hope you had a great holiday yesterday. I hope you ate good yesterday. You know what I'm saying? I hope you left there well fed. You feel me? I hope that you got to spend some time with your family. And I also know that for some people, man, the holidays can be a very hard time. So my heart goes out to anybody who struggles during the holiday season. I totally understand, man. I've lost people in my life as well. And it's kind of weird not seeing those people there during the holidays, you know. So I just want to send out love, send out good energy this morning before we jump into today's subject. Now, y'all know if you've been watching for any span of time, you know we got this mantra that we do every single morning. I might call it the entrepreneur's mantra. I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but we got to go through the mantra, right? And I just believe every time I say this, man, my energy shifts, right? Don't matter what type of mood I'm in. When I say this mantra, my energy shifts immediately. And it just goes like this, right? God wants me to win. You got to hear what I'm saying, man. I told you I get excited every time I hear it. God wants me to win, right? I'm on a divine path. I got a divine purpose. I'm in the pursuit of something great. And God is on my side while I'm doing it. And I just believe that if we can grasp that, if we can embrace that, y'all, like that just makes that just gives you a different type of energy. That just gives you a different type of mindset. It allows you to lock in a little bit different, just knowing that what you're doing, what you're creating, what you're building, it actually means something. What you're doing, what you're creating, it's actually a divine purpose behind it. God didn't give you that dream for you to fail at it. I don't believe that. Right? I don't believe it. Listen, I'm a father, right? I'm a father. I'm never going to equip my children with something and then expect them to fail. Like I'm not going to give them something, right? And then say, you know what? I know you're going to fail. Don't even worry about it. That's kind of crazy to me, right? So I truly believe that God wants me to win. God wants us to win. And that's why we got the vision. That's why we got the dream. So let's hop into it, man. So I realized that on this journey, right? I've been in business full time almost 3 years now. It'll be 3 years in April. I got out the military. I went straight into business from there. And actually, what I was doing while I was in the military, right? I was speaking. I had published a couple of books. Like what I was doing there, I thought that was my path. Like I thought that's what was going to. I thought that from there I was just going to go full time into speaking and at the schools and have the program and get paid from that. Like that's what my plan was. That was my plan, right? And everything was going in the direction of that plan. But as time got a little bit closer to me getting out the military, and I knew for a fact that I was not going to resign. Like I knew that for a fact. I was not resigning, right? That part of the journey didn't seem likely, right? Like as it got closer and closer and closer, it started to dwindle away a little bit. And I came to a realization that part wasn't going to happen. Right. I was doing this program for free. I was just coming every day. I was speaking to the kids every Monday. And honestly, like I said, I was just completely doing it for free. So as my military career was coming to an end, I understood that that shift wasn't going to happen like I thought it was going to happen, right? So then I came across this thing called reselling. Didn't even know it was a real thing. Didn't know people had reselling businesses. I had sold some shoes on eBay, back in college or something. Anytime I needed some money, I'll flip a couple pairs of shoes on eBay or something. But I didn't know it was a real business until I started coming across the YouTube video. So I'm like, okay, I for sure can do this. I know I can do this. I already had an eBay account. I was already good. So I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the path we're going to take, right? This is the path that we're going to take. Now, I want you to get this. I want you to get this. I'm just painting a picture right now. Follow me. I'm just painting a picture right now. I probably have 3 months until I'm getting out the military. So you got to understand, I got healthcare in the military. I got dental care, paycheck, everything, guaranteed paycheck, guaranteed benefits, all these different things. But I know I'm getting out. I know I'm getting out. I did 8 years. I'm like, I'm complete. I'm done. I got to move on with this. I'm about to start a business 3 months before I get out of the military. That logically does not make sense. Right? It logically does not make sense. But I felt it like for sure. I'm like, I just got to see. Like I can always come back to the military. I just got to see what this is about. Like I got to get into this field. I got to see. Like I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew that for a fact. I knew that was in my blood. I knew it. I have been studying. I have been reading for years. I had developed discipline for years. So I'm like, okay, I can at least go a couple months. And if it don't work, then whatever, like I'll figure that out from there. But like I said, logically did not make sense. Everybody I was talking to, bro, what you going to do after you get out, man? I'm doing this. What you going to do when you get out, man? I started this business. This is what it's going to work or it's going to work. Right? Like that's how I was talking. But honestly, I wasn't even that sure of it. I'm going to be real with y'all. Right? A lot of people that were asking me these questions, they were planting seeds of doubt. And honestly, I had enough doubt already. I didn't know how this was going to work out because like I said, logically, it wasn't supposed to work out. But here I am doing it. On my lunch breaks, I'm going to the stores. I'm buying shoes. I'm flipping shoes. I'm buying. At that time, we weren't even just doing shoes. I would buy anything, printers, anything I knew that would sell, right? You look up I'm not going to go deep into the reselling business model or whatever, but you look into what it would sell for, and you buy it, of course, and you're trying to make a profit, right? It's a very simple business, right? It's a very simple business. I sold all my own shoes. I sold everything that I could possibly sell before I got out. And we had a nice little launching pad. We had some funds. I knew that was coming. All these different things was working in our favor at the time. But like I said, it logically did not make sense. But I had a dream, right? I had a dream from years. I sound like Martin Luther King. I had a dream from years back about being an entrepreneur. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't know when it was going to happen. I didn't know any of that. I just knew that after these 8 years, I was going to try it out. That's all I knew. Logically, it did not make sense. I'm talking about everybody was trying to talk. My sergeants was trying to talk me out of it. I sat down with one of my captains at my job. She was like, listen, I don't know what you thinking about, but bro, you got a family. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, this is not going to work. She simply told me, like, this is not going to work, right? And I'm like, okay, but I got to see. I just got to see. It may not work. Like, I was open to it. I'm like, listen, I understand. It may not work, but I got to see for myself. And here's the thing. Here's the thing where a lot of us get messed up at. We try to mix our dream with logic. When you're dreaming, when you have a dream, that is not the time for logic, because most of the time, just from reading, just from understanding this business realm, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Most people start with nothing, and it just doesn't make sense. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing. And it probably goes against everything that you have going on in your life at that time. It doesn't make sense. But while you're dreaming, while you're coming up with the dream, that is not the time to think logically. Now, here's where logic comes in, because logic has its place. Logic comes in when you're creating a strategy, when you're coming up with your plan. That's where logic comes in. Logic has it don't mix with the dream. So I got an illustration for y'all real quick. I got an illustration, right? I got some water, right? And this water represents your dream, right? This water is your dream because water is infinite. Water is everywhere. Water flows, right? It's almost like it's just like your dream, creativity, right? It flows. So here's the water, all right? Check this out. I just want to show you this. I just want to show y'all real quick. Follow me. Follow me. This is water. This is your dream. This is logic right here. This is a bottle of oil. This is logic. This is olive oil, right? This is logic. No matter how you try to, you can shake it up, you can mix it around, it don't mix. It doesn't mix. And this is the same thing that we do in our lives, right? We try to mix the dream with the logic, and it doesn't work that way. The dream that we have is usually not logical. It don't even make sense. Even when I was working a job, it didn't make sense, right? For me, somebody who I didn't grow up in public speaking. I didn't take any public speaking courses or any of that type of stuff. But I was going to schools and I was speaking, right? And then somehow I went from that to speaking at conferences and doing different things along those lines. It didn't even make sense. It's like, how can I go from this to that? It didn't make sense. But I didn't try to mix the two. I didn't try to mix the two because they don't mix. Right? It did not make sense for me to follow this path, leave the comfort of my job, leave the comfort of the military, and I was on an upward trajectory, right? I was on an upward trajectory. I could see step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. I was getting promoted. I was in a leadership role. It could have been perfect. I didn't have to go through the pain. I didn't have to go through, you know what I'm saying, the fear and all these things that is associated with following your path, your dream. But I also knew that if I did not take a chance, chances don't last always. Opportunity don't last always. The military is still there. I'm only 29. If I needed to, I can go back in. Now, we ain't doing that. But it's still there. It's not gone. It didn't go anywhere. It's still there. And some of us, we are literally squandering an opportunity right now based off of something that's always going to be there. The opportunity that we have right now is not always going to be there. But the space that we're in, the job, the whatever jobs are always going to be there. They're always going to be there. You may have this small window of opportunity. I promise you, it's so crazy the way this worked out. And I read this book called Outliers, and I'll tell you why that's important in a second, right? I read this book called Outliers, and I realized, y'all, that timing is everything. Timing is everything. When we got into that business, it was the perfect time because, right, like within a year and a half, the reselling industry went crazy, especially during the pandemic. It went nuts. Hear what I'm saying? It went crazy. Timing matters, y'all. It matters. So, like I said, a lot of us, we have a limited time and space for this opportunity. Limited time, limited space for this opportunity. And we will look at what we have going on right now and squander that opportunity that won't always be there. We won't take the chance. We won't take the risk. Out of fear. Out of fear. And we'll never know what's on the other side because we keep trying to mix the logic with the dream. We keep trying to mix it. And they don't mix. People will ask you, how are you going to do this? And really, when you first start something out, you don't even know. You make up something. You come up with a plan. You use your logic to come up with the plan. Use your logic to come up with the strategy. And you're telling everybody, I'm going to do dot, 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 dot. But guess what's going to happen? You're going to get punched in your mouth. That's what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to get punched. You're going to get punched. Listen, when we were starting that business, we had like some guaranteed money coming, right? Well, we found out soon into it that money wasn't guaranteed at all. As a matter of fact, we didn't even receive it. We didn't even receive it. So the money that we were going to start our, like, really use to catapult our business, to really give it a boost and take it off, guess what? It didn't happen. So the plan, the logic that I had, guess what? The whole plan got blown up. And I still had to move forward. And we went through a year of straight up just hell, right? That 1 year was so tough. It was like that year was crazy. But for some reason, we just kept moving. We just kept moving, one foot after another, because we were in this space of dreaming. We understood that what we were doing was going to have to defy logic, because logically there was no way that this should have worked. There's no way logically that we should still be in business right now. No way. But the more that you walk in that faith, the more that you walk in that hope, the more that you keep going and going and going, you'll get these little glimpses of hope. And those little glimpses of hope make you hang on. And sometimes you're hanging on to nothing, right? I don't get on here to lie to y'all and say, I ain't never felt like quitting. I ain't never felt like that. Listen to what I'm saying. I've definitely felt that way. But every single time, without fail, every single time I felt like quitting, I would get this little glimpse of hope. God would give me this little glimpse of hope. And once again, it was just like the demonstration I just gave you. Every time I got that little bit of hope, I went right back into the dream. I didn't try to mix the two, right? Like I said, the dream is the water, because water is abundant. Water is everywhere. The logic, that's like the oil. The two don't mix. When you're dreaming, you cannot dream and mix it with logic. Your logic comes in when you're making the plan. Your logic comes in when you're trying to come up with a strategy. The logic comes in when you're thinking of your next moves. But when you're dreaming, don't mix the two. Don't mix the two, because the two don't mix. As you can see, the two don't mix. They want to separate. They want to stay separate. And every time you get to dreaming, you got people pouring all the logic all on your stuff. They pouring logic all on your stuff. And it's like, yo, the two do not mix. When I'm dreaming, it's all outside the realms of logic. All outside the realms. Like I said, it don't even make sense. It don't even make sense. Destry, what are you talking about, bro? Like, you didn't have no startup capital. You didn't have the credit that you absolutely need to launch a business like this. Like, if you look at shoe companies, when you look at these shoe companies and stuff like that, they leverage either somebody else's money. Well, I guess credit both of them. Somebody else's money, right? Usually they leverage somebody else's money. There's very few that started literally from just selling something that they possessed, flipping that money into a real business. That usually does not happen. It defies logic. But guess what? All the greats in any field, it don't matter what you do. It don't matter what pursuit you're in. All the greats in any field at some point had to defy the logic. They had to defy the logic. Now, like I said, the logic has a place. I'm a very logical, practical thinker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, that's how I think. So I even had to get aside myself, because every time I would dream, that logic would try to mix. Like I said, every single time. And no matter how I shook it, no matter how I swirled it around, they didn't mix. So I had to learn to separate the two. And when I'm dreaming, I put aside the logic. When I'm planning, when I'm coming up with a strategy, it's all logic. I'm going off of numbers. I'm going off of trajectory. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at that. I'm going back 30, 60, 90 days, 120 days. What we do last year. How can we make it better this year? That's where the logic is. The logic is in the plan. The logic is in the strategies. But when I'm dreaming, when I'm thinking of all the possibilities, listen, this is something I'm going to let y'all into my mind a little bit. This is something I did this morning. I always journal in the morning, and I was writing out a vision of me giving a tour at our warehouse headquarters, right? At RIB headquarters, right? Now listen to me. This has not happened. I don't know when it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. But guess what? I was in dreamland. I was in dreamland. I wasn't in logic land. I was in dreamland. Hear what I'm saying? I was in dreamland when I was coming up with this. When I was writing out what it's going to be like to give my first tour at the RIB headquarters. I was in dreamland. Now, after I got done writing, I made my plan for the day. Now I'm in logic. I'm in logic. I need to do this. You got to learn to separate the two. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago in a different capacity when we were talking about the difference between an entrepreneur and a technician. All of us entrepreneurs, we got the entrepreneur in us and we got the technician. The entrepreneur loves to dream. The entrepreneur loves to see the possibilities. The entrepreneur can look at a problem and say, you know what, I can come up with a fix for that. But the technician is in the logic of things. It's in the day-to-day processes of things. But you can't mix the two. You can't mix the two. They just don't mix. It don't, like I said, it don't matter. I can take this upstairs. I can try to boil it. I can do all the things that I want to do to it. It don't mix. And a lot of us, we have literally, hear what I'm saying? We have literally like diluted our dreams with logic. Literally diluted the dream. Like this water, this was some high quality H2O a couple minutes ago. But then I poured all the logic in it. And now if I drunk this right now, this would be disgusting. Disgusting. The two don't mix. You got your dream, you got logic. The two don't mix. You got to learn to separate the two. When you're dreaming, and here's the reality. Here's the reality with this. You're going to spend more time in logic than you are in dreaming. Right? The dream is the imagination. The dream is you being creative. The dream is you thinking of things that are not yet. You're seeing things that have not happened yet. Right? So one has its place and the other one has its place. But if you start mixing the two, I'm telling you right now, this is what you're going to get. Like I said, this was some high quality H2O a couple minutes ago. But when I start pouring the oil in there, now it's disgusting, right? Now I won't even drink it. Now I won't even attempt it. And that's exactly what happens when you coming up with the dream and you let people just pour the logic all over it. How that gonna happen? That's not gonna happen. Guess what? Now you've diluted the dream. Now you don't even want to attempt it. Now you don't even want to taste it. You don't even want to go after it no more because you let other people and yourself, your own self-doubt, you let them dilute the dream. And the dream is sacred. Hear what I'm saying? The dream is sacred. The dream is divine. The dream is something totally different. the dream is something totally different. You got to be very careful how you move around the dream. You got to be very careful. You walking on some fragile ground. You got to be very careful. You got to be very careful. Because once you start, like I said, pouring that logic on top of that, the dream becomes less and less and less. And we can do this. We can do this even as full-time entrepreneurs sometimes and then stunt the growth of what it could be. Right? Like we can stunt the growth of what it could be, the potential of what could be by pouring all that logic on there. Oh, man, I don't even know how I'm going to scale the business from this to that. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Listen, when you're planning, logic. You're coming up with the strategy, logic. But when you're dreaming of the possibilities of everything that could be, that's not the time for logic. That's the time to dig into your creativeness. That's the time to be a kid again, to imagine the possibilities, to see all the things that could possibly happen, not all the things that could possibly go wrong. That's what you do when you're coming up with a strategy, a plan. You want to bounce the plan off of doubt. You want to bounce it off of all these different possibilities when you're coming up with a plan, because you got to know that this could happen or that could happen, or it can go wrong this way or it can go wrong that way. Like, you want to know all those different angles when you're coming up with a plan or a strategy. But when you're dreaming, stop trying to mix the logic with the dream. Listen, if you got any value from this podcast today, please go subscribe on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, the Noluckadded podcast. Man, I'm doing this every day, every other day. I don't know. This week has been like every other day this week. But my whole goal with this, not to sell you nothing. My whole goal with this, I just want you to subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast out. I want to grow the podcast organically, man. I've been doing it for a couple of years, but I feel like I really just now got into my mode, right? I feel like I just now got into my voice and the audience that I know that I want to speak to. So go subscribe to the podcast. I love y'all. Enjoy your holidays, man. But don't forget, don't mix the logic with the, don't do it. Like I said a couple minutes ago, this was some high quality H2O. I mean, like before I mixed the oil in it. Now it's not even drinkable. Have a great day. I love y'all. Peace.